Right now, as Europe wrestles with a massive migrant crisis, several countries are stepping up to take a bigger role. French President Francois Hollande is sending spotter planes to patrol over Syria to help fight ISIS. His country is also the latest to pledge to take in refugees trying to escape the terror group's violence. The European Union is still trying to get more members of its 28-country bloc to take in refugees. Well, joining us now, former White House Security Council staff under President Bush and President Obama. Gillian Turner, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You say ISIS is taking advantage of this chaos?
Yeah, of course, ISIS and any other terrorist organization is going to try to take advantage of the chaos. They're going to try and make inroads across Europe and in any nations that are harboring Syrian refugees. We learned the hard way over the past decade that terrorism really flourishes anywhere where there's instability, anywhere where there's war, whether it's Central Asia, the Middle East, or Africa.
Yeah, and these countries are trying to help out here. French President Hollande says his country will take in 24,000 refugees. British Prime Minister David Cameron says he'll accept more than 10,000. This is after they're all under pressure to change their stance because of those heartbreaking photos that we saw last week. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel telling reporters just today Germany is going to ensure that those who need protection have it, but she also says those who have no chance of getting asylum will have to return to their own homes swiftly. So we see here it's a humanitarian crisis clearly, but also a bureaucratic nightmare sorting out who has a legitimate claim.
Yeah, I mean, the war in Syria has been raging for 5 years now, but somehow it seems this problem is really snuck up on the Europeans. And a word of caution I would offer here is that to us Americans, this may look today like this is a European problem, but tomorrow it's going to be ours. You know, this civil war has created an estimated 4 million refugees and IDPs, and that number is only going to grow.
So what can the U.S. do?
The federal government needs to come up with a really robust program here to help alleviate the humanitarian crisis. I think that Americans in general are a very empathetic people. We want to reach out to help the Syrians. We're moved by the turmoil and the horror that they're going through, but at the same time, we want to protect national security imperatives. So what we need to do is balance both, and this is something the government does all the time. There's no reason we have to choose here. We need to come up with really good vetting and security procedures for Syrians and other Middle Easterns that want to come to the United States.
Yeah, the European Union trying to find that balance too. Germany announcing that it is going to allow these Syrian refugees to stay in the country regardless of where they first entered the European Union. Well, that's against the rule. The EU has a rule that you have to seek asylum only in the country that you first entered. Some countries now saying that these EU rules about asylum are becoming unenforceable.
Well, that is an argument that's going around, and there's very real security concerns, but those concerns aren't specific to these refugees because they're Middle Eastern or because they're Syrian. It's because of the volume of people that the Syrian civil war has created. I mean, the European system has been completely overwhelmed by the numbers here, and that's why we're seeing countries like Germany and the UK make exceptions to try and embrace some of these people and their families because the numbers are simply unprecedented.
Yeah, we're also seeing other countries like Hungary backing off and saying we can't handle anymore, and you know, we're overwhelmed. So a very tough situation.
And Austria.
Yeah, some of them going the opposite direction at this point. Gillian Turner, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.